afternoon. Good to be here. Excited for another opportunity, another week. Quite the game out in Bozeman, and like I said after the game, excited that our kids just found a way to continue to keep fighting, keep getting a big stop. Last series of the game, 6 minutes left, eating up potentially most of the clock and getting down there and getting a score, getting us another stop there where we had some great pressure by Jake Kava and Dylan to get the ball back, to get us into overtime, and then huge play in overtime. I don't know how often, probably very seldom, are you ever involved in a game where there's a walk-off blocked PAT, maybe a field goal, but rarely do you ever see a walk-off blocked PAT to win a game, and a huge game like that. Again, very good football team that we played. Kudos to Montana State, Coach Vegan and their staff. They were well prepared. You can tell they put a lot of time in it. During that bye week, their kids were playing at a high level, and Tommy Malott, haven't heard anything about his injury yet. Was going to try to reach out this week, and hopefully he's okay. I had a chance to visit with him after the game, but tremendous player, and they got a lot of talent on their football team, and I know they'll be ready to go a year from now again.
After a trip like that, a 1 point win in a playoff game on the road like that, kind of what goes into resetting these guys to get ready for the next one?
Just getting back to our process as quickly as we can, and that'll start here probably about an hour. Today's been typical go to class, lift this morning. Believe me, I know Coach Kramer wasn't handing out rainbows and unicorns in the weight room today, so I'm sure they were locked in, ready to go. Just got to get back to our process and start putting together game plans, start practicing, how can we slow down the Coyotes and turning our focus to our next opponent.
Shot at USD in a playoff game, probably not too hard to get the guys excited for this one, right?
Yeah, I haven't been around them since Saturday. I know Saturday they were super excited just about the win. I think, as I said after the game, I think they're just excited they get one more shot to play again and play together. Tight group. Offense, defense, specialists. I mean, it doesn't matter. They all seem to hang out with each other, and I think that's a sign of a good. You have a chance to win when you have a team has that type of camaraderie and continuity.
As now than the last time you played South Dakota.
I'd like to think we're better. We weren't very good when we showed up that first half against them. What was it, 21-3? We can't let a team get up like that, especially a good team that's going to get into some short yardage situations. We struggled to get off the field. We got to be better on third down. We got to be better defensively, and we got to be able to score points when we get in the red zone. Field goals just aren't enough these days. Field goals will get you beat, and they did. We weren't very efficient in the red zone and struggled on third down, and there was minimal possessions. They did a great job with just maintaining the possession of the football and getting us off the field. And when you have two teams that huddle, the game's going to go quick, and every possession is going to be critical.
Part of most of all these playoff rematches, was it about seeing a team a second time that you can scheme up better the first time?
Well, because they continue to evolve too. There's new players that have emerged. I think that Charles Pierre Jr., their running back, I don't remember seeing him much early in the year when we played him, and all of a sudden now, he's starting to get a lot of carries. Of course, Travis Tice, the number 5, he's a really good player. But I from a personnel standpoint, overall, you have a pretty good idea, but they have a good idea who we are too, and I'm sure they're looking into it and trying to see what we've struggled with. We're looking to see what they've struggled with, or why was it only 14-7? Why was it 14-10? Why were they struggling to score offensively? How are they keeping people under 20 points a game? And so I just think you have a bigger sample size probably. I think you are who you are at this time of the year, and subtle adjustments sometimes is all you need.
A level of a chess match kind of thing, or is it you just have to line up and play better?
Well, that's part of it. I mean, you don't want to dive into too much chess match when the things you worked on all week don't work. We gotta execute better. We gotta show up better. When our feet hit the ground on Saturday, we need to have a little better sense of urgency than we did 7-8 weeks ago. But I think there'll have to be some subtle changes, in what we do. I mean, I'm sure that I know for a fact they're looking at our game from previous just like we are too. Just got done watching it, for about the 18th time in the last 24 hours. So trying to use that as kind of a reference, and then expand and look at the other 10 or so games that they've played and see how they've attacked people and how they utilize their personnel to get them the ball, or utilize their personnel in the run game and or pass game.
Had a couple big runs, and it seemed earlier in the year the bigger runs are coming from the quarterbacks. Were you defended differently, or why do you think it kind of played out that way?
Yeah, after the game, we talked a little bit. They were playing us in a lot of man, 4-3 box, dropping that post safety. Really wasn't a post safety, but he was probably at about 8 or 9 yards, just stacked over the tight end, and was playing over the. He was the extra quarterback player, and it gave him an 8-man box. It gave him kind of some fallback fits a little bit that caused us some problems. I think you saw later in the game we kind of got our bearings to it, but the tailback run off of quarterback run became a viable option as long as our quarterbacks continued to carry out the fake, because we could pull that extra hat out of the box.
Shows are on when you had the double tight ends and fullbacks. At least looked like it. Yeah, one of tight formations. Was that something you saw, or is that just execution?
I think just execution. I know the one was into our sideline. We ran just G, pin and pull scheme, and got it blocked up, did a great job. And, he showed he's a big kid that can run. And he was able to outrun their defense and 2 huge runs during the course of the game. But he ran hard on Saturday, and we need that. We need that out of our veteran players, and we need our best players to be playing their best football late in the year.
The DN play and how important that was going to be. How did you feel guys like Jake and Dylan in particular?
Well, I thought overall they played well. There's some things on defense, just defending them. You try to take one thing away, it leads to them attacking you differently. But when we needed to get pressure on the quarterback, those 2 guys got home on that big series where we got them out of field goal range. We forced them to punt late in the game there with probably 30 seconds left. Those were 2 big plays. But I thought early in the game we did some different things with our DNs, mesh charging, trying to elevate them a little bit higher that caused some problems. I thought we got some hits on Tommy early in the game, and I think they made some adjustments and got the ball downhill and maybe got it out of his hands a little bit more.
Preparing for Montana State, with their offense being their main weapon, now going up against USD with the top 5 defense.
Yep.
Kind of what changes do you have to make preparation-wise? Kind of what are the big things you have to key on during the week?
Well, just finding ways we can get things blocked up and get downhill on some run game and avoid negative plays. And I think you go back to our previous game, there was way too many of those where we were in 2nd and 10, 1st and 15. We can't hurt ourselves. We can't shoot ourselves in the foot. We got to make plays when we have opportunities to, and sometimes that doesn't mean you can do more. It just means you have to do what you do better. And then, I think for the most part, their quarterback, Aiden Bauman, does a real nice job. A pocket quarterback can spread, can make all the throws. So, we're going to have to defend the field defensively, and they do a nice job in their front. They do a real good job, I think, funneling the football with their front 4, their front 7. And so we're going to have to be creative and find ways to be able to run the football against what I think is a really good front.
Straight game, is this when legs may start to show that you didn't get the bye, that you're playing 11 straight weeks now?
I don't know. Well, I don't think so. I think we have a good beat on the health and the well-being of our guys right now, and more isn't better at this time of the year from a practice standpoint. But we won't eliminate meeting time. We can extend that always. Mental reps are good. Our guys have seen a lot of football to this point. But I think we also see us trying to be cognizant of that on special teams and, utilizing. I think on Saturday, if we dress 64, I bet 58 of them helped us win. And we have to do that. We got to find ways to be creative and take reps off some of our starters who maybe help us on special teams. Is there a play here, play there that we can get some other kids in? Because at this time of the year, there are no freshmen anymore. Everyone's been through at least one season.
Before he was out there on Saturday.
He's been the last couple of weeks. He's been out there. On our punch shield. Yep. Playoff time. Got to get your best bodies on the field.
Play in the game, 54 for them up here. How much of a difference maker on the defensive line is he?
Really good player. I think he just makes their front even better. Gives them more depth too. But I know Messiah Newsom has kind of filled in for him at that time. Was a newcomer of the year. Just more depth, more ability to rotate guys, and that probably, I'm sure they're excited about that, playing a team that is all about the line of scrimmage or philosophically a line of scrimmage based football team.
His usual efficient self on Saturday, 6 of 14 or whatever it was.
Sure.
I mean, have you talked with him, and was it what they were doing? Was he just off? Was it weather? Was it?
I didn't dive into Mike, if there were drops or anything like that. I was excited about the win, and you know what, when we needed a drive, he put one together for us at the end. He had some big throws that were probably negated at different times because of some penalties. All of a sudden, you take those and throw those back into the hopper. It probably looks like a decent day. We'll chalk it up to we played a good opponent in an unbelievable venue, and I think and Cam knows it. Nobody has to tell him that. He's one of our best players, and we need him to play at a high level at this time of the year to be successful.
You are who you are this time of year. What would you say the identity is of this current Bison team that we're seeing?
I think mentally tough kids, going to battle, going to fight, going to find ways to try to create some plays. Far from perfect, they know that. I don't know if anyone is. That's why we talk about chasing progress, trying to continue to improve. Opportunistic. I think offensively, we're going to take the opportunity. We're going to take what you give us. We'll take access throws. We'll take some shots. We have playmakers that do a really good job in space. Defensively, we've got to continue to try to find ways to get the ball back, create turnovers, get stops on third down. What happens between the 20s sometimes doesn't really matter. There's not bonus points for limiting yards. It's just keeping people out of the end zone. And I think our kids understand what it looks like in the big picture.
Struggled when it fell behind you fall behind in a road environment like that and were able to rally. Is that something this team has grown at, or just describe that?
I really didn't think of that until you told me about that. So, thanks. I think we've talked about at length about us starting fast. We've had a couple games this year where we did not, and we don't want to go down that road again. And hopefully we've matured, we've grown. We understand that every game needs to be our best. We need to try to play our best.
Half game against USD since '86. Any thoughts on the historical perspective of this?
Well, not really. You're the second person. Rocky Hager was the first to let me know that this was, first playoff game against the Coyotes since, the mid '80s. So, I'll say this: it does not shock me that we're playing another Missouri Valley team at this point of the season, and probably does not shock me that we're playing a Bob Nielsen coach football team at this time of the year. I can't repeat it.
Worrisome week, busy week, where with the portal now officially open.
I was going to say, Don, get to what you're.
Just tell me then, how do you handle this week? Is it like if the guy's on the bus, we know he's on the team?
Right. If he's at practice, he's on the team. Right now, we're rolling. We're ready to go. And I've had some great conversations with some mentors of mine. One of them, Craig Bowl, and kids leave, you can't take it personal. You got to worry about the ones that want to be here. And so that's what I'm going to emphasize. And, guys who decide that this isn't for them or this isn't the right place, I don't like their decision, but that doesn't mean I don't care for them and appreciate who they are.
Event last night, think go to help in that regard of helping to maybe keep guys here.
Well, I don't know if that'll help keep guys here, but I think hopefully I spoke probably a little more candid than I probably would in this setting right now. It just gave some people some actual, like, hey, this is what it looks like. This is how the transfer portal has impacted us in the last 5 or 6 years. This is how NIL is now. The two together can be a lethal combination to roster management. And Dom, it's not known. It's no secret that we're a developmental program, and I think people throughout the country appreciate that, but also then appreciate how our kids are, how they develop and how they play. And we have a lot of young men who didn't have a lot of stars behind their name, and a lot of the teams in our league do too. And we're not the only ones. It's a problem for everybody right now. But, I think people appreciate the development piece when you take a kid that's 6'4", 6'5", and he's 270, and he's bigger, faster, stronger, and a better version of himself after his third year. Everyone has access to everything these days. They have access to film. They have access to, PFF, all the numbers. It's out there. And, we have our way of going about doing things, and we think that, we try to get our claws deep into our kids from a relationship standpoint, and hopefully that talks them out of leaving just for, ifs and buts. But, last night we talked about, we have some guys on our team that they have people around them that have been contacted and or reached out to, and all of a sudden now there's significant, dollars behind it. And, but we knew it was coming. I mean, like I said, we couldn't avoid it forever.
That if a player comes and says this has happened,
I think you have to sit back and really look at the big picture. What is your ultimate goal? Where do you see your future at? Who are the people you want to be surrounded by? Because, I understand money makes the world go around, but it is the root of all evil too. And, how much do you want to be connected to it? Is your future based on money, or is it based on being with the right people at the right place? Because, the guys who've been reached out to all have an opportunity at the next level. Well, they have that opportunity is just as viable from NDSU as it is from any other school in the country. I mean, we've proven that. I mean, what is there, 16, 17 guys in the NFL right now? We had another Bison get a start this week with Nash Jensen. If you're good enough, they'll find it. It's not about where you're at. It's about what you do. And that's what the NFL guy, that's why they keep coming back.
500 kids in the portal by noon today.
Yep.
Just kind of
they talked about potentially being between 1,000 to 2,000 kids in the portal, and that's Division I.
your thoughts about how this is continuing to grow every year. It seems like that number gets bigger, faster.
Yeah, we'll see. Part of it is this year it looks bigger because now the calendar is set up so FCS and FBS, this was the opening day for everybody. And so it was going to look like it was exaggerated a little bit. I mean, there should be twice as many people in because you have twice as many schools included. And so sometimes you got to peel back some layers to look behind what the numbers actually say. I think in a week's time, let's have a conversation. I mean, is it going to be steady, or is it, hey, everyone's going in now, and then what happens? And then does it slow down? We're getting close to the end of the 6th year. How does that impact? Will there be as many graduate students that are available? Are there as many 6th year, bonus year? Hey, I'm going to go do whatever. I'm going to go do something fun and different. Maybe find someplace that's easier to operate. I don't know. All we can do is continue to worry about the kids we have here. Dive into the portal if we need to recruit high school kids for the development purpose, but we also need to make sure that we can find some solutions within the portal as well at NDSU.
Health-wise coming out of Saturday or anything new?
No, we're ready to go.
Look in game 2 back.
Okay. And I don't think it had anything to do with his health. I think he played against a good football team, and I think he got better as the game went on. I think he got more and more comfortable. That was probably just a different type of team that he played again. He hadn't played a ton of reps in the last 6-7 weeks, so he'll play better this week. I know he will.
Just the whole timing of because like in the FBS, conference season's over, they got a little bit of a break, whereas here you're in the middle of a run.
You know what? Most of our decision is based on FBS, so it really doesn't. It is what it is. They're going to drive the decision making, and we're going to have to deal with it.